The time is 8:45 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Here is the news edited by Anjana Dodamgoda and read by Tilani Pires. The headlines. The leaders of Vietnam and Sri Lanka hold bilateral discussions. The Prime Minister says all parties must discuss changing to a mixed electoral system. The Minister of Education says school meals program will be extended. The State Minister of Power and Energy says there is no threat of a fuel shortage until June of next year. The State Minister for Technology says training high school graduates to address the shortage of skilled workforce in IT sector is essential. The e-mobility national expo in Pitipana. The government pays concern over 8,000 Sri Lankan caregivers in Israel. And on international news, the US President Joe Biden drafts $100 billion foreign aid package, including money for Israel and Ukraine. And on sports news, Lionel Messi scores 2 in Argentina's World Cup qualifying win over Peru. The President Ranil Wickremesinghe engaged in bilateral talks with President Vo Wang Thuong during the Belt and Road Initiative International Forum in Beijing yesterday. During the meeting, President Vo Wang Thuong underlined this commitment in strengthening ties between the two countries. The discussion between the leaders covered various critical issues impacting both nations. To bolster the relationship between Sri Lanka and Vietnam, it was agreed to formulate a comprehensive action plan with the foreign ministers of both countries taking the lead. Vietnamese President expressed Vietnam's willingness to serve as a bridge for enhancing relations between Southeast Asia and Sri Lanka. He emphasized that Vietnam is committed to taking the initiative in strengthening economic, social and cultural ties between Sri Lanka and Vietnam. The two leaders engaged in extensive discussions on establishing economic and trade links between the two nations, as well as Sri Lanka's agricultural modernization program. This dialogue was underscored as a fresh approach to charting a path forward together. Meanwhile, President met Pakistan Prime Minister Anwar ul Haq Kakar in Beijing. President Ranil Wickremesinghe and Pakistan Prime Minister Anwar ul Haq Kakar engaged in bilateral discussions in Beijing yesterday afternoon. During their meeting, both leaders emphasized the global imperative of cultivating a harmonious society free from animosity, prejudice and anger arising from racial, religious or ethnic differences. The Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena yesterday requested all parties, including the opposition leader, to come to a discussion seeking opinions of parties representing Parliament regarding the proposal presented to the Cabinet to change the parliamentary election to a mixed electoral system. The Prime Minister made this request after a statement made by opposition leader Sajith Premadasa in Parliament that he would not participate in the discussion. The Prime Minister said, "We have called for this meeting on a request by the Cabinet. I will inform the Cabinet on the outcome of today's meeting." The present government had obtained a mandate to bring in electoral reforms in 2019 and 2020. The Premier said that the proposal to change the parliamentary election system to a mixed voting system is presented in good faith according to the mandate of the people, and the people are waiting for this. He added that there will be no cancellation of elections. The Minister of Education, Susil Premajant, has revealed that the existing school meals program will be extended in 2024 so as to cover the 1.6 million students in primary schools across the country. Addressing the first global summit of the school meals program, held on the 18th and 19th of October, Minister Premajant further said that the plans are underway to commence providing free school lunches for all the 4.1 million school children in the country by the year 2030, and that the budget allocation in this regard will be increased to $204 million. Accordingly, it has been decided to set up a fund dedicated towards the nutrition of students in state schools, adding that the relevant gazette in this regard is currently being drafted by the legal draftsman. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
Cherished companion of microfinance banking, Samurde Community Bank.
The State Minister of Power and Energy, D.V. Shanakar, stressed that there is no threat of fuel shortage and emphasized that the necessary tenders for fuel import up to June of the next year have been completed. ensuring an uninterrupted fuel supply until that time. He also highlighted that by entrusting the supply of fuel to Sinopec Company of China, the government expects to save more than $500 million in foreign exchange. Minister D.V. Chanaka made these statements during a press briefing held today at the Presidential Media Center under the theme Collective Path to a Stable Country. The State Minister for Technology, Kanaka Herath, highlighted the pressing need to equip high school graduates with the necessary skills to bridge the workforce gap in the information technology sector in Sri Lanka. Every year, there are approximately 20,000 job opportunities within the IT sector, yet a deficit of adequately trained professionals persists. He further emphasized that while about 10,000 IT graduates emerge from both public and private universities each year, additional efforts are required to equip young individuals who have completed their A-levels with the skills necessary to meet the remaining labour force requirement. These remarks were made during his participation in a press conference at the Presidential Media Centre today on the subject of the International Education Forum 2023, organised by the Education Division of the Federation of Information Technology Industry, Sri Lanka. The Minister of Transport, Highways and Mass Media is organising the National Green Mobility Exhibition and Conference from November 10th to the 12th in Pitipana, Homagama to mark World Transport Day 2023. Many public and private institutions, including the President's Office, Prime Minister's Office, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Industries, Ministry of Environment, Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Transport and Highways are contributing to this exhibition and conference. A discussion was held at the Transport Ministry about the organisation of the exhibition and the conference implemented according to a concept of the Minister of Transport, Highways and Mass Media, Dr. Bandula Gunawardena. Minister Dr. Gunawardena said that this is the first time that such a huge exhibition related to the transport sector is being held in Sri Lanka. The minister added many countries are now converting to sustainable transport methods instead of fossil fuels. In view of the current situation, the long-term use of fuel in the transport sector is not sustainable and viable. That ends local news for now.
Your closest ally in microfinance banking. The front runner in uplifting low-income households, extending a hand to those aspiring to thrive. Your very own financial institution, Samurdhi Community Bank, with a presence of 1,089 branches throughout the island. Your closest ally in microfinance banking. Your steadfast financial partner, Samurdhi Community Bank.
The main news story is brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
A meeting between President Wickremesinghe and the Chinese Vice Premier Xing Xiang expressed profound gratitude for Sri Lanka's enduring support through the historic rubber rice agreement with the People's Republic of China. He emphasized that the Chinese people will always remember this gesture of goodwill and assured that China remains committed to extending its supportive hand to Sri Lanka. The bilateral discussions between President Ranil Wickremesinghe and the Chinese Vice Premier Ding Xuxiang took place in Beijing this afternoon. During this meeting, the Chinese Vice Prime Minister reaffirmed China's unwavering support for the development of the Colombo port city and the Hambantota port within the framework of the Belt and Road Initiative. He also expressed confidence in the successful realization of both projects under the leadership of President Ranil Wickremesinghe. President Ranil Wickremesinghe underscored the historical significance of the China-Sri Lanka Rubber Rice Agreement, the first foreign commercial agreement entered into by Sri Lanka. He underscored the importance of the establishment of new commercial relations that align with the shared principles of both nations. The President expressed deep appreciation for China's invaluable support in the face of the economic challenges confronting Sri Lanka. He emphasized the enduring and strengthened friendship between Sri Lanka and China, particularly under the leadership of President Xi Jinping. President Ranil Wickremesinghe emphasized Sri Lanka's commitment to preserving the identity and peace of the Indian Ocean region, advocating the prevention of any power struggles in the area. That was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
And on Watch Light tonight, the government is monitoring the well-being of Sri Lankans in Israel following the outbreak of a full-scale war between Tel Aviv and Islamic militants across that country's borders. According to the officials, there is an estimated 8,000 Sri Lankans currently employed in the Jewish state, most of them being women holding on to caregiver jobs. As of now, 3 Sri Lankans remain unaccounted after militants from the Hamas militant group in Gaza stormed Israeli settlements along the border on Saturday last week, killing more than 1,000 civilians, including families with women and children. That came to you in Watchlight. Moving on with world news and the headlines first. The US President Joe Biden drafts $100 billion foreign aid package, including money for Israel and Ukraine. Polish election marks huge win for Donald Tusk as ruling conservatives lose to centrist coalition. The Pakistan court allows Imran to speak with sons. The Biden administration is drafting a $100 billion foreign aid package that includes assistance for Israel as well as other top security priorities, according to 2 people familiar with the details. Details on the spending request were still being finalized ahead of an official request sent by the White House to Congress this week. U.S. spokesman told the news that the bulk of the assistance will likely go towards Ukraine, while others also said that it included $10 billion for Israel. The official spoke on condition of anonymity in order to discuss details that hadn't been announced yet by the White House. The Polish election marks huge win for Donald Tusk as ruling conservatives lose to centrist coalition. 3 opposition parties that vowed to restore democratic standards in Poland together won over 54% of the votes in the nation's weekend parliamentary election, putting them in a position to take power, according to Complete Ballot Count reported. The Conservative Law and Justice Party, which has governed the country for 8 turbulent years, won slightly over 35% of the votes, making it the single party with the most votes. But the party and its leader, Jaroslaw Kaczynski, lost their majority in parliament and appeared to have no way to hold on to power. A special court in Pakistan on Wednesday granted permission to jail the former Prime Minister Imran Khan to have a phone conversation with his 2 sons, according to a media report. In a 1-page written order, a special court judge directed the superintendent of Adalia jail, where Khan is currently lodged, to ensure that Khan speaks to his sons, Suleiman Khan and Qasim Khan, over the phone. Back to the world news headlines. The US President Joe Biden drafts $100 billion foreign aid package, including money for Israel and Ukraine. Polish election marks huge win for Donald Tusk as ruling conservatives lose to centrist coalition. The Pakistan court allows Imran to speak to his sons. That ends world news.
Development news.
A cooperation framework agreement was signed by the Port City Economic Commission China Harbour Engineering Company, Brown's Investments and Human Construction Investment Group for the Phase 2 development of the Colombo Port City project in Beijing on Tuesday. The total investment value would be around $1.565 billion. The agreement covers the development of the Marina project and the Marina Hotel project and the Colombo International Financial Center mixed development project. The agreement was signed by Chairman Port City Economic Commission Dinesh Virakodi, Chairman of China Harbour Tang Kyo Liang, Director of Brown's Investments Kamanta Amrasekara, and Chairman of Huan Construction Investment Group. That was development news.
Sports news is brought to you by Shakti. Refresh your mind and body with Shakti Energy Drink. 350 rupees only. Available at island-wide leading groceries and supermarkets. Shakti. Taste the power.
And on sports news, Lionel Messi scored twice in Argentina's 2-0 win at Peru in a World Cup qualifier on Tuesday, playing the entire match for his national team. The 36-year-old appeared fit after he was sidelined for several matches. The 36-year-old appeared fit after he was sidelined for several matches with his club Inter Miami because of muscular pain. Also on Tuesday, Brazil, the arch-rival of the defending World Cup champion, took 2 serious blows at Uruguay. Brazil lost 2-0 to the hosts, its first defeat in 37 World Cup qualifying matches, and saw its star Neymar leave the Centenario Stadium in Montevideo on crutches with a left knee injury. Meanwhile, in other sports, cricket, in the wake of Sri Lanka cricket confirming that Angelo Matthews will join Sri Lanka squad in India, Dasun Shanaka, who was ruled out from the team over an injury, was seen in a practice session at the Khana Stadium in Lucknow ahead of the game against the Netherlands on Saturday. That ends sports news.
Shakti. Refresh your mind and body with Shakti Energy Drink. 350 rupees only. Available at island-wide leading groceries and supermarkets. Shakti. Taste the power.
And on business news, the highly anticipated Havelock City Mall is pleased to announce its grand opening today. This international standard shopping mall promises to deliver an unparalleled shopping and entertainment experience, creating an ideal destination for the local community right in the heart of Colombo. Spanning over 200,000 square feet, Havelock City Mall is a retail paradise housing 6 premier anchor tenants that include Odell, Carp Cinemas, Food City, Cool Planet and Barnes. Moreover, there are 132 other retail outlets offering an unparalleled selection of fashion and accessories, entertainment options, tantalizing food and beverages, convenient services, electronics, homeware, and gifts and novelties. That came to you in Business News.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekak thiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු හින හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
The Chinese Finance Minister, Mr. Liu Kong, has reaffirmed China's commitment to extend comprehensive support for the implementation of a medium-term and long-term program that is mutually beneficial to both parties and aimed at optimizing Sri Lanka's debt. The Chinese Finance Minister conveyed this commitment during bilateral discussions held this morning in Beijing with President Ranil Wickremesinghe, who is currently on a 4-day official visit to China. That ends economic news.
Weather report.
Showers or thundershowers will occur over most parts of the island after 2 p.m. Fairly heavy showers above 75 millimeters can be expected at some places in the over, central and eastern provinces. Showers will occur in the western, southern and northwestern provinces during the morning as well. General public is kindly requested to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by temporary localized strong winds and lightning during thunder showers. That was the weather report. And now to end this news broadcast, the main points once again. The leaders of Vietnam and Sri Lanka hold bilateral discussions. The Prime Minister says all parties must discuss changing to a mixed electoral system. The Minister of Education says school meals program will be extended. The Power and Energy says there is no threat of a fuel shortage until June of next year. The State Minister for Technology says training high school graduates to address the shortage of skilled workforce in IT sector is essential. The E-Mobility National Expo in Pitipana. The government pays concern over 8,000 Sri Lankan caregivers in Israel. And on international news, the US President Joe Biden drafts $100 billion foreign aid package, including money for Israel and Ukraine. And on sports news, Lionel Messi scores 2 in Argentina's World Cup qualifying win over Peru. That ends this news broadcast. Now it's back to our friends on the other side, as always on a Thursday night, Marila Vendort and Navidu. After quite some time, Navidu, nice to see you back again. Back to you both.